What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Peterson. It's time for our favorite segment of the week. Your questions, my answers, right here. Let's get into it. You guys asked some really good ones this week. I think you're going to like them. And, of course, these all come from the best fans in the National Football League. Can you blow up the comment section for me? I'm going to give y'all a little reward. Most comments on today's video gets a shout out in next Saturday's mailbag. It is in your hands now, okay? Get down below in that comment section. Top commenter gets a shout out on next week's mailbag. All right, let's go ahead and get going with our first question of the day from Nashman Race. Who do you think, or what do you think, will be the final win-loss at the end of the season? That's a good question, Nashman. So right now the Ravens are sitting at 3-5. They started off 1-1, and then they lost 4 straight games, and then they've won the last 2. I think they're going to end the season, I'm going to say 10-7. I think there's 2 more losses in there, but I do believe you're going to get 7 more wins. Okay? I don't know who to who. I'm not qualified to say that, but 10-7 with the way this defense has been playing, with Lamar Jackson back fully healthy, with everybody else back fully healthy as well. Give me 10-7. Boom. Chris, coming up next, do you think that our offensive line is going to hold up the rest of the year? Is it bad to say that, I wouldn't mind if it didn't? I would love to see Emory Jones get a shot. That might be naive of me. That might be stupid of me. Frankly, I don't care. I just don't know how much worse it could be than what Daniel Falele is trotting out there every single Sunday. Guys, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but it feels like every single week there is a play or two where you look and he's just laying on the ground. He's just laying on the ground for no reason. He probably got sleepy. That's it. So, I would not mind if he got a shot. Would not mind if Ben Cleveland got a shot either. This is why I was really big on trading for Kevin Zeitler at the deadline, because I thought he could have just been plug and play and been perfect for your team for the rest of the season. But alas, they didn't make the move. They didn't make that trade. And for some reason, they still feel confident in this front five, although they've pretty much given them every reason not to be. Next up, attendance squad. Hashtag Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Henry is starting to pick up the pace, especially with the card back. How many yards and touchdowns will the King get against the Vikings? Oh, let's go 103 yards, and I'm going to say 2 touchdowns, okay? 103 yards, 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry against the Vikings, because the Vikings have a really good defense. Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator, but they do struggle from time to time with stopping the run, and so I do believe that Derrick Henry has a big day. Mike the Dinamaster, are the races going to be Ravens? Are the races going to give Zay a lot of catches, or is he not viable for fantasy? Ravens, okay, not races. I believe that he's viable and a viable option for fantasy. I'm going to tell you this. I think Zay Flowers' 2 best games this year are going to come against the Steelers, okay? Because the Steelers like to play something called man-free, where they blitz 5 defensive linemen, and what that does is it leaves their cornerbacks in man, one-on-one, on an island with wide receivers. Well, I think that Zay Flowers is going to benefit heavily from that because he's such a great route runner and he causes such great separation between him and his cornerbacks. And so, if you have Zay Flowers on your fantasy team and you want to know which games are going to be his best for the rest of the year, I would bet on both of the Pittsburgh games. Sleepy EDC. Should the Ravens sign Christian Wilkins after missing out on a defensive tackle? So if you missed it, the Ravens at the trade deadline, I was very much leaning towards them adding at defensive tackle. They ended up not, and Christian Wilkins is still available. And if you think of free agent defensive tackles, Christian Wilkins is probably the most talented one that's available right now. I just don't know if he's worth the headache that would come with adding him. He had some things kind of going on, some reasons the Raiders were parting ways with him that were a little bit weird, and the locker room didn't love him that much. I just don't really feel like adding that to this locker room that already seems pretty fragile. Like, this team started out 1-5. If they face a little bit more adversity, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull themselves out of it. So Christian Wilkins, he's a great talent. And if I could just add the talent perspective and just put him on the field every game day and that be it, I would do it. But if I had to add him to the locker room, I would say no. What would you do with Christian Wilkins? S for sign, P for pass. You let me know in the comments section down below. Okay? What would you do with the defensive tackle? Let me know your answer. If you're looking for how to have the most fun while watching football this weekend, the answer to that question is using our friends over at PrizePicks. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click, whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on PrizePicks. How you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Here are my PrizePicks for Sunday's game against Minnesota, and we talked about that flex play. What that means is this exactly. I'm going to give you an example with mine. Say Lamar Jackson completes a pass for 45 yards. Great. The more, boom, that hit. Say J.J. McCarthy runs for 20 yards. Boom, the more, that hit. Say Derrick Henry does not catch a single ball. So that would be less on his 2.5 yards longest reception. I chose more. If you power play it, no money won. Zilch. If you flex play it, you still win money even though you miss a pick. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Nick Manchester coming up next. Sick last name. What's the likelihood of Isaiah Likely and Keaton Mitchell getting re-signed? Very, very likely for Isaiah Likely. Keaton Mitchell. Is Keaton Mitchell's contract up? I don't believe that. I don't think he's in a contract year. Is he? Oh, he signed a 3-year deal. Yeah, okay. Sorry, my bad. I forgot. UDFA. So, that's a 3-year deal. And back in 2023. Wow. Time has really flown. I think Isaiah Likely will be re-signed. Wow, this is a chaotic question right here. Isaiah Likely will be re-signed. Keaton Mitchell, excuse me, I would lean towards not. And not because I don't think that he's a really good running back. I just believe that the Ravens, for some reason, are not seeing his value. Oh, man. This is what we got. We bring you guys every day. Anyway, I'm going to answer your question quickly, Nick, before I sneeze again. Likelihood for Isaiah Likely getting re-signed, high. For Keaton Mitchell getting re-signed, low, unfortunately. Papa Shook coming in next. If Lamar keeps up this play and wins out, 14 touchdowns to 1 pick, 4.5 games is ridiculous. Does he have a shot at MV3? That's a great question. I don't know. I think maybe. Because, Daniel Jones is probably the leader right now, and I feel like he's going to fall off a cliff at some point. He just did against Pittsburgh. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is a realistic chance, but also it's kind of a quarterback award we've seen as of recently. Patrick Mahomes is playing really good ball. He's obviously going to be someone you have to beat. You already have more touchdowns thrown than Josh Allen, and you've missed 3 games if you're Lamar Jackson. So I don't think he's a threat. Joe Burrow's injured for the whole year. And so I think there's a chance. I don't think it's a great chance, but I do think there is a chance. Tom S., what do you think the longest field goal attempt by Loop is this year? I think he makes one and hits one from 61 yards, Tom. That is a hot take, and I'm sticking with it. Steve Loop, his dad, very, very strong and loyal supporter of us here at the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. Hope he likes that hot take. Number 1 draft prospect for the Ravens this year. Great question. You got to go defensive line. And I would prefer you go defensive tackle. The Clemson Tigers have a couple of interior defensive tackles that I really, really like. Obviously, it is, November. I haven't really started a ton of my draft prep. But those are 2 guys to keep an eye on. And Yeah, those are the names I'll give you right now. Thank you so much for the question, Parkle. We really do appreciate it. Our next question is coming up from, we're going to get it 1 second, from Mr. Gage. Sasquatch16. Would Asante Samuel Jr. improve the Ravens secondary, or is he washed an injured player? I think Asante Samuel Jr. would improve this secondary. I don't think he's washed. He's young. Now, we don't know about the injury, but that's why you want to bring him in for a visit. Unfortunately, the Baltimore Ravens are not one of the multiple teams that are bringing him on a visit. The Panthers are, the Vikings are, the Bears are, the Steelers are, and the Packers are. He's got visits from Thursday of a couple days ago and all the way up until Tuesday, I believe. So, unfortunately, the Ravens aren't in on those. I wish they were. Doesn't hurt to bring somebody in for a visit. Obviously, cornerback is not their biggest need, but I do still believe it is a need. I think he's going to be a good player. Whoever ends up landing him, I think is going to get lucky with that one. Speaking of Marvel movies, says Chris, which Marvel character would the Ravens be? It's a good question. I think originally I would have said like Spider-Man, because I just think of the Ravens, I think of Lamar Jackson, I think of athleticism, I think of speed, I think of like bendiness. I think of Spider-Man. Like they're not they're not the Hulk, they're not Thor, they're not Iron Man. I think Spider-Man's a good one. And last question, at For the Bushes. Should the Ravens sign Asante Samuel Jr.? Similar question we got earlier, but a little bit different. I think they should. I think they should at least bring him in for a workout. Unfortunately, they're not right now, but if they ended up doing that, I would not be mad about it. But there's already enough teams being interested. It's going to be one of the 5 teams he's visiting. Should the Ravens sign ASJ? Let me know in the comment section down below by giving me a yes or a no. A little bit of a chaotic mailbag today. We're sorry. My allergies got the best of me, but I'm still going to give you guys the best of me every single day. So make sure you got me followed on social media. Make sure you subscribe right here at the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. Daily content on your favorite team.